Amos, I see on Friday we had 22 gainers for the market. We see the market activity, that bearish trend slightly easing somewhat. Do you see a correction coming through now, or is market activity likely to continue to remain choppy?
Well, one thing we're actually seeing a lot of cautious approach in the market. A few of these investors actually coming in, long-term investors. The short-term retail investors are not playing the market that much. We're actually seeing a bit of supply coming in from their side. But the guys who are coming in now are looking at the value of the stocks. Some of the stocks are trading at an all-time low in the past year or 2 years or so. And actually we're seeing wise investors coming in on the long-term basis.
When you're talking about long-term, what type of investment horizon would you be taking with a long-term view?
In long-term view, I'm talking of maybe 2 years investment, if you're looking at that. Because basically, we're looking at this year, the effects of economy this year, rising in interest rates. We're looking at the weakening shilling. We're looking at inflation. And then we're looking at next year, we're looking at elections coming in again. That may create some jitter in the market. So definitely, if I'm going in right now for the long term, I'm looking at basically 2013. That's where I'm actually basing my returns at.
So 2-year investment horizon. Let's focus on the largest listed stock on the exchange, East African Breweries, Diageo, winning that bid to buy state-owned brewer Meta Abo from the Ethiopian government. Now that's for $225 million. Many saying that this remaining stake will be consolidated into East African Breweries, winning that bid against the likes of SAB Miller and further solidifying East African Breweries' presence in the East African region.
Definitely. We've actually been seeing a dip in terms of share performance of East African breweries. But this may actually turn it around, and actually we may see some activity coming in again. Normally, we actually saw the returns actually dipping with the acquisition of Serengeti Breweries in Tanzania. So that may actually boost their performance basically in the region. We're looking at now the acquisition of the brewery in Ethiopia. Definitely, that's a plus for them, and that's a market they actually been looking at exploring at. So definitely we may see some plus on their end.
Now, one of the key outstanding issues for East African Breweries is how they're going to fund the 20% acquisition of their remaining stake in Kenya Breweries. Now, this is said to cost around 23 billion shillings at this point, with the shilling depreciation having risen the cost of that acquisition. Many saying that we could see a further rights issue from East African Breweries. How do you expect them to fund this key acquisition?
Not really. They actually had mentioned earlier that they will be looking at funding this from their earnings, the retained earnings that they had. They're actually looking at pumping that into funding this acquisition, and also you're looking at how much the company is making in terms of income that's coming in or revenue that's coming in every financial year. They actually talked about either scaling down on their dividend payout or maintaining the dividend payout where it is, so that extra cash that is left behind is actually used to pump in for the acquisition. So we will not see a rights issue or that matter for this particular period.
You're not factoring that in. When we're looking at East African Breweries, there are a lot of pluses, as we say, consolidating its position in the East African region through an acquisition like Ethiopian Breweries, their Meta Abo.
Yes.
But what do you see as the biggest weaknesses in the company right now, perhaps potential threats to its market dominance?
Definitely, locally we're seeing the local brewers actually coming up quite strong. I think we saw Karoche Breweries coming up quite strong to actually compete with them in this market. There's also, if you're looking at the soft drinks market, it's also actually affecting the market really hard. And also, if you're looking at in terms of the competition that's coming in from imported brewery, clearly we're actually seeing a bit of activity on that particular end. But on my end, I think breweries have actually placed their stake in the market and actually looking at acquiring more and more of the share market that is there, particularly looking at East Africa and East and Central Africa. They're actually trying to actually create a foothold for them, whereby everyone who needs brewery products will actually be able to go to them.
A quick discussion on the price. Amara Africa sees the price going to 187 shillings, got a long-term buy rating on that stock, while Standard Investment Bank has a sell rating on the stock, seeing fair value at 138 shillings. Where do you see the counter going?
We've actually been seeing it going south in the past week or so. Even before the company closed, the share book, actually been seeing it actually dip down. I think one of the negative sentiments that came out was them actually scaling down on the retained earnings or what they have. But if you're going forward, I think it's actually a stable company. I think the price should hold at where it is right now, and we may see some interest coming in now with the acquisitions in Ethiopia. We may see some activity coming in, some demand, some interest coming in that particular counter. So therefore, I actually see it as a strong buy.
Let's shift our focus to Total Kenya now, coming out saying they've overhauled their boardroom. The chairman there has resigned. They've appointed a new chairman. This comes after they've issued that profit warning. Going forward, what do you think the new board needs to do to inject fresh ideas into this company that has really been lagging behind other competitors?
Basically, if you've been looking at the oil industry in terms of marketing, in terms of performance, its peers in the market, Kenyan Capital, I think one of the listed companies, is actually reporting we may see increase in profits for this financial year compared to the others. And the others also reporting quite significant profits. For Total to come and say that we're actually seeing a profit warning, profits will be lower than the previous year, is actually a shock to most of the investors. We're actually expecting that, considering that we've been seeing that the price of fuel has been going up, and that cost is being transferred. So
what can the board do to really turn the company around? Because clearly, even though we've had a higher oil price and other competitors are posting earnings of 80% rises there, Total Kenya is expected to report full year earnings have dipped by 25% or more.
I think it's all about reining in on the management and the operations that they are doing right now. I think that's the only thing that the board can do. Turn around, look at the business from the forefront. They expanded to Tanzania and all that, but clearly, are we making money in terms of our expansions? Are they making good use of the market share? I think that's one thing the board will actually look at in terms of management and in terms of strategy that they are going forward.
Well, we'll be keeping a close eye on that development. Thank you very much for your time today, Amos. Amos Odero is a senior dealer at Genghis Capital from our Nairobi studio.